The last war in the galaxy ended 112 years ago. Nobody remembered what it felt like to be afraid. Nobody remembered what it meant to look at the sky and wonder if death was coming. Those feelings belonged to history books that collected dust on forgotten shelves. The Galactic Union had made peace their religion. They protected it. They built their entire civilization around one simple idea: war was over forever. On the great station called Unity, beings from 3,000 different worlds lived together in harmony. They shared food. They shared music. They shared their lives. A creature with 8 legs might live next door to a being made of living crystal. Nobody thought this was strange. This was just how things were. Elder walked through the central plaza and smiled at everything he saw. He was very old, with gray skin that hung loose on his thin frame. He had lived through the last war. He was one of the few who still remembered. "Beautiful day," said a young merchant selling flowers made of light. "Every day is beautiful now," replied. "We made sure of that." He meant it. His generation had worked hard to end war forever. They had signed treaties. They had destroyed weapons. They had melted down every warship and used the metal to build schools and hospitals. They had created a galaxy where violence was not just illegal, it was unthinkable. The defense stations that once guarded every planet had been turned into parks. Children played where soldiers once stood ready to fight. The factories that made missiles now made medicine. The academies that trained warriors now taught art and philosophy. Peace had won. Peace was everything. But there was one small corner of the galaxy that worried. One place that did not follow the rules. Earth. The humans lived on a tiny blue planet in an isolated part of space. The Union had found them 300 years ago, back when the galaxy still had weapons. They had watched the humans fight each other. War after war. Bomb after bomb. Blood that never stopped flowing. The Union had made a decision. Humans were too dangerous, too violent, too unpredictable. Better to leave them alone. Better to put a barrier around their space and forget about them. So they did. A ring of satellites surrounded human territory. These satellites blocked all signals going in or out. The humans could not see the galaxy. The galaxy could not see the humans. Everyone thought this was the best solution. Was not so sure anymore. Far away, on the other side of the barrier, Captain stood on the bridge of his ship and stared at the stars. The ship was called It was the largest thing that humans had ever built, 3 kilometers long, 200,000 tons of metal and fire and death. Every surface was covered with weapons. Every system was designed for one purpose: to fight and to win. Was 50 years old. He had gray hair and dark eyes that had seen too much. He had spent his entire life preparing for this moment. "Status report," he said. His first officer was a woman named. She was young and sharp and afraid of nothing. "All systems ready, Captain. The crew is at battle stations. We can launch in 10 minutes. Good. Looked at the main screen. It showed the barrier. The ring of satellites that had kept humanity trapped for 300 years. 50 years ago, human scientists had discovered the satellites. They had studied them in secret. They had learned that someone was watching them. Someone had decided that humans should stay locked away like animals in a cage. This had made humans very angry. It had also made them very afraid. If someone was watching them, then someone might attack them. The humans did not know that the galaxy was peaceful. They did not know that war had ended. All they knew was that they were being watched by something powerful and unknown. So they built It took 40 years and every resource on the planet. Every nation contributed. Every scientist worked together. They built the most powerful weapon in human history, a ship that could fight anything, a ship that could protect humanity from whatever was waiting outside. Today, that ship would finally leave home. "Open a channel to Earth Command," ordered. The screen changed. A woman appeared. She was the president of the United Earth government. Her name was, and the weight of the world sat on her shoulders. "Captain," she said, "are you ready?" "Yes, Madam President, thee is ready for departure." Nodded slowly. "You understand your mission. Make contact with whoever is out there. Learn what you can. Do not start a fight, but if they attack you, we will defend ourselves." Finished. "I understand." "Good luck, Captain. The future of humanity is in your hands." The screen went dark. Turned to his crew. 200 of the best soldiers, scientists, and engineers that Earth had ever produced. They had all volunteered for this mission. They all knew they might never come home. "You heard the president said. We are going out there to make friends, but we are bringing guns just in case. Let us show the universe what humans can do." The crew cheered. It was not a happy sound. It was the sound of people who were afraid but refused to show it. The moved forward. Its massive engines burned blue fire. It approached the barrier, the ring of satellites that had kept humanity prisoner for so long. "Weapons ready," reported the weapons officer. He was a quiet man with steady hands and calm eyes. "Shields at maximum," said the defense officer. She was small but fierce, with short hair and a scar on her chin. The ship touched the barrier. Energy crackled along the hull. For a moment, everything went white. Then they were through. Looked at the screen and felt his heart stop. Ships, thousands of ships, stations the size of moons, planets glowing with the lights of cities. The galaxy was full of life, more life than humans had ever imagined. Captain whispered, "Look at their ships." Looked, he saw what she meant. The alien ships were beautiful. They were curved and elegant, covered in lights that pulsed like heartbeats. They had no weapons. Not a single gun, not a single missile, not a single shield generator. These ships were built for travel and comfort, nothing else. "Scan everything," ordered. "I want to know what we are dealing with." The minutes passed. The scans came back. Every ship was the same. No weapons, no defenses, no military capability at all. "This makes no sense," said. "How can an entire civilization exist without weapons?" "Maybe they do not need them," suggested. "Maybe they have never faced a threat." "Or maybe the threat is hidden," said. "Stay alert, this could be a trap." But it was not a trap. It was something much stranger. On Unity Station, alarms sounded for the first time in over a century. Elder looked at the screens and felt fear for the first time in decades. A ship had appeared from the human zone, a ship covered in weapons, a ship built for war. The humans had arrived, and they had brought death with them. The galaxy had let down its defenses. Now it would learn the price of forgetting what danger looked like. Nothing would ever be the same again. Fear spread across the galaxy like a disease. Every news channel showed the same images: the human ship, the weapons covering every surface, the dark metal that seemed to swallow light. Commentators spoke in hushed voices about the end of peace. Parents held their children close and wondered if the old nightmares were coming back. On Unity Station, the Council of Elders gathered for an emergency meeting. 12 beings sat around a curved table made of white stone. They represented the oldest in species in the Union. They had guided the galaxy through 100 years of peace. Now they faced something none of them understood. "We must destroy them," said. He was a large creature covered in thick green scales. His species had been warriors once long ago. "Before they attack us, before they can do any harm." "Destroy them with what?" asked Elder. "We have no weapons, we have no warships. We melted them all down a century ago." "Then we build new ones," insisted. "We must defend ourselves." "That would take years," said another. "The humans are here now." The room fell into silence. They all knew the truth. They had made themselves helpless. They had believed so completely in peace that they had forgotten how to fight. Elder stood up slowly. His old bones ached, but his mind was clear. "We do not know what the humans want. We have not spoken to them. Before we panic, we should try to understand. Understand what? Demanded. They brought a warship. Their intentions are obvious. Are they? Asked. We locked them away for 300 years. We watched them like prisoners. If someone did that to us, would we not be afraid? Would we not bring weapons to protect ourselves? The council considered this. It was a fair point. The humans did not know the galaxy was peaceful. They had been kept in darkness, surrounded by unknown watchers. Of course they were afraid. Of course they had prepared for the worst. I will go to them, announced. I will explain what we are. I will show them that there is nothing to fear. That is dangerous, said a with silver skin. What if they kill you? Then at least I will have tried, smiled sadly. We cannot build bridges by hiding behind walls. Someone must take the first step. The council agreed to let him try. A small diplomatic ship was prepared. It had no weapons, no shields, nothing that could be mistaken for a threat. It would carry a small team to meet the humans face to face. Watched the small ship approach. It is completely unarmed, reported. No weapons of any kind, no defensive systems, nothing. Frowned, this could be a trick, a way to get someone on board. Maybe, said, but we did not come here to hide. We came to make contact. If they want to talk, we should listen. He gave the order to open the docking bay. The alien ship landed softly on the metal floor. A door opened, an elder stepped out. He looked around the human ship with wide eyes. Everything was hard and gray and cold. The walls were thick metal. The floors were covered in rubber for grip during combat. Soldiers stood in lines, wearing armor and carrying weapons that looked terrifying. Had never seen anything like this. His people had forgotten what military ships looked like. This was like stepping back in time, to an age that everyone thought was gone forever. Walked forward to meet him. He tried to make his face friendly, but he was not sure he succeeded. Humans had forgotten how to smile at strangers. Welcome to the, said. I am Captain, we come from Earth. Bowed his head in greeting. I am Elder, representative of the Galactic Union. We have waited a long time to meet your species. You could have met us 300 years ago, said sharply. Instead, you locked us in a cage. Sighed, he had expected this anger. You are right, we made a mistake. We were afraid of your species. Your history was full of war. We thought it was safer to keep you separate. Safer for who? Asked. For everyone, we believed. We see now that we were wrong. Looked at the weapons on the walls. But perhaps you can understand our fear. Look at what you have built. This ship is designed for destruction. Can you blame us for being cautious? Felt the truth of those words. There was a monster, a beautiful, terrible monster. They had built it out of fear, but it looked like something built for conquest. We built this ship because we were afraid, admitted. We did not know what was out there. We did not know if you were friends or enemies. We wanted to be ready for the worst. And now, asked, now that you see we have no weapons, now that you know the galaxy is peaceful. Did not answer right away. He looked at his crew. He saw the confusion in their eyes. They had spent their whole lives preparing to fight. Now they were being told there was no one to fight. We need time to understand, finally said. This is all very strange to us. Nodded. Of course, let me explain everything. The galaxy has been at peace for over a century. We destroyed all weapons. We ended all conflicts. Every species works together now. There are no enemies. No enemies at all? Asked. She could not believe it. None. We settled all disputes through talking. We learned that every problem can be solved without violence. The humans looked at each other. This sounded impossible. Their entire history was defined by conflict. War was as natural to them as breathing. A galaxy without war was like a sky without stars. How? Asked. How did you achieve this? Told them the story. He spoke about the last great war that had killed billions. He explained how the survivors had come together and sworn to never fight again. He described the great agreement that every species had signed. He talked about the century of peace that followed. By the end, the humans were silent. They were trying to imagine a world without war, a world where children never learned to hate, a world where weapons existed only in museums. "This is beautiful," said quietly. "I wish we had been part of it." "You can be part of it now," offered. "Come with me to Unity Station, meet the Council, show them that humans are not monsters, show them that you came in peace." Looked at his ship, the guns, the missiles, the armor designed to survive battles that would never happen. He felt foolish suddenly. They had built all of this for nothing. Or had they? Something in the back of his mind would not rest. A feeling, a warning. If the galaxy was truly peaceful, why did it feel wrong? "We will come with you," he said, "but we will keep our weapons ready, not because we want to fight, because we do not trust what we do not understand." Smiled sadly. "I hope one day you will learn to trust. Peace is built on trust." "Maybe," replied, "but peace is also built on being ready when trust fails." The turn toward Unity Station. The deadliest warship in human history was going to meet a galaxy that had forgotten what weapons looked like. Neither side knew that something ancient was waking up at the edge of space, something that would make everyone remember why weapons existed in the first place. The real test was coming, and only the humans would be ready for it. In the cold darkness at the edge of the galaxy, something opened its eyes. It had slept for 15,000 years. It had no dreams. It had no thoughts. It was just a machine. A weapon created by a species that no longer existed. A tool of destruction that had been put to sleep but never destroyed. The machine sent out a signal. Other machines answered. Thousands of them. Then millions. They had been scattered across the empty reaches of space, waiting, always waiting. Now they were awake, and they were hungry. The first colony to see them was called Morning Light. It was a small farming world at the far edge of civilized space. 2 million people lived there. They grew food. They raised families. They had never seen a weapon in their lives. The machines came without warning, black shapes against the stars, thousands of them moving together like a swarm of insects. They did not communicate. They did not negotiate. They simply attacked. Morning Light died in 3 hours. Every building was destroyed. Every person was killed. The machines took everything useful and used it to build more of themselves. Then they moved on, leaving nothing behind but ash and silence. On Unity Station, the news arrived like a punch to the stomach. "What do you mean, destroyed?" demanded. "How can an entire colony be destroyed?" The messenger was shaking. "Machines, ancient machines, they came from the outer rim, they killed everyone, they consumed everything." "This is impossible," said another. "There are no threats, we achieved peace, violence is over." "Tell that to the 2 million dead on Morning Light," the messenger replied. The council chamber fell into chaos. Everyone was talking at once. Some were crying, some were denying. No one knew what to do. Elder stood in the corner, watching. He had feared this day would come. He had warned the council that peace without protection was dangerous. They had not listened. Now the worst had happened. And his crew were still on the station, waiting to meet with the full council. When the news reached them, gathered his officers in a small room. "Tell me everything," he said. Read from her data pad. "The attackers are machines, very old. Our records call them the Eaters. They were created 15,000 years ago by a species that wanted to win a war. The machines worked too well. They destroyed their creators and kept going." "How were they stopped before?" asked. "The combined fleets of every species in the galaxy. 10,000 warships. It took them 50 years to push the Eaters to the edge of space and shut them down." "And now there are no fleets," said quietly. "No warships, nothing." Understood the situation immediately. The galaxy had made itself defenseless. They had believed so completely in peace that they had forgotten about the eaters. Now those forgotten machines were awake and hungry, and there was nothing to stop them. Except one ship. "How many machines are there?" asked. "Unknown. The swarm that hit morning light had about 10,000 units, but they grow. Every colony they consume makes them stronger." "Where are they heading now?" Checked her data. "A colony called Blue Harbor, 15 million people. They will arrive in 8 hours. 8 hours, 15 million people, and only the stood between them and death." Made his decision. "Get back to the ship. We are going to Blue Harbor." "Captain," said carefully, "one ship against 10,000 machines. The odds are not good." "The odds are terrible," agreed. "But what choice do we have? Those people will die if no one helps them. We are the only ones who can help." "This is not our problem," argued. "These people locked us in a cage for 300 years. They called us violent and dangerous. Why should we die to save them?" Looked at her. "Because that is what humans do. We protect people who cannot protect themselves, even if they do not deserve it, even if it costs us everything." The room was silent, then nodded. "I am with you, Captain." One by one the others agreed. They were afraid. They knew they might die, but they were also human, and humans did not run from danger when innocent lives were at stake. Elder found them as they were leaving the station. "You are going to fight the eaters," he said. It was not a question. "Yes," confirmed. "You will die. One ship cannot defeat them." "Maybe, but we have to try." Stared at him. He had lived for a very long time. He had seen many things, but he had never seen anything like this. A species that would throw itself into certain death to save strangers. "Why?" asked. "Why would you do this?" Thought about the question. "Because we have weapons, because we know how to fight, because if we do not help, we are no better than the cowards who locked us in a cage." He started walking again, then he stopped and looked back. "You called us dangerous," said. "You were right, but dangerous is not always bad. Sometimes dangerous is exactly what you need." The left Unity Station and flew toward Blue Harbor. Behind it the galaxy watched. Some hoped the humans would succeed. Some expected them to fail. No one believed they would survive. On the ship gathered his crew in the main hall. 200 faces looked up at him. 200 people who had volunteered to change the future. Now they were volunteering to die. "I will not lie to you," said. "What we are about to do is probably impossible. We are one ship against thousands of machines that have killed entire civilizations. The smart thing would be to run." He paused, the crew waited. "But we are not going to run. We are going to fight, not because we want to die, not because we are brave, because there are 15 million people on Blue Harbor who have never held a weapon in their lives. They cannot fight. They cannot run. They need someone to protect them." He looked at the faces around him. Fear, determination, pride. "Earth sent us to make friends with the galaxy. Instead, we are going to save it. When historians write about this day, they will say that humanity earned its place among the stars not with words but with blood. They will say that 200 humans stood against an army and refused to give up." He raised his fist. "For Earth, for Blue Harbor, for everyone who cannot fight for themselves." The crew cheered. It was not a happy sound. It was the sound of people accepting their fate, the sound of humans being human. The flew on. The deadliest warship from Earth was going to meet the oldest enemy in the galaxy. One way or another, history was about to be made. They arrived at Blue Harbor with 2 hours to spare. Stood on the bridge and looked at the planet below. It was beautiful, blue oceans, green forests, cities that sparkled like jewelry in the sunlight. 15 million people lived down there. 15 million people who had no idea that death was coming. "Send a message to the planet," ordered. "Tell them to prepare for evacuation. Get everyone underground if possible." Sent the message. The response came quickly. The planetary governor appeared on screen. He was a small being with purple skin and too many eyes. He looked confused and frightened. Evacuation, underground. We do not understand what is happening. The Eaters are coming, said. 10,000 machines that will destroy your colony. You have less than 2 hours. The governor's many eyes went wide. But we have no shelters. We have no defenses. We never thought we would need them. Then you better start building them now. Cut the transmission. He felt sorry for these people. They had grown up in a paradise. They had never known fear or danger or war. Now they had to face all three at once. Captain said quietly, "The swarm is approaching, 12,000 units. They have grown since morning light." 12,000 against 1. Had faced bad odds before, but nothing like this. That was powerful, but it was not immortal. If enough enemies attacked at once, even the greatest warship would fall. "Do we have a plan?" asked. Had been thinking about this during the entire journey. The Eaters need a command ship, a central intelligence that coordinates everything. Without it, the machines become stupid. They stop working together. "So we find the command ship and destroy it," said. "Exactly, but it will be hidden in the middle of the swarm, protected by thousands of machines. We will have to fight our way through." "Through 12,000 enemies," said, "with one ship." "Yes," smiled grimly. "I never said it would be easy." The swarm appeared on the sensors, a black cloud moving through space. Individual machines were small, about the size of a fighter jet, but together they filled the screen like a dark ocean. "All stations battle ready," commanded. "This is what we trained for. This is why Earth built the show these machines what humans can do." The first wave of enemies hit them hard. Missiles flew from in all directions. Guns blazed with fire. Energy beams cut through space like burning knives. Hundreds of machines exploded in the first minute, then thousands. But more kept coming. The machines were not stupid. They adapted. They learned. After the first wave died, the second wave changed tactics. They attacked from multiple angles. They targeted weak points. They worked together like fingers on a hand. "Shields at 80%, an officer reported. 70%, 60. Flew the ship with incredible skill. She dodged through the chaos, spinning between enemy fire, finding gaps in the swarm. Her hands moved so fast they were hard to see. "I cannot keep this up forever," she warned. "They are everywhere." Fired without stopping. His weapons killed machines by the hundreds, but for every one he destroyed, 2 more took its place. The swarm was endless. The swarm was relentless. The swarm was death. "I need to find that command ship," said. "Scan the swarm, look for patterns, look for anything different." Worked at her console. Data flowed across her screen, numbers and shapes and movements. She studied it all, looking for the key to victory. "There," she said suddenly. "In the center, see how the machines move around it. They are protecting something." Looked, she was right. One area of the swarm moved differently. The machines formed a protective shell around a central point. That had to be the command ship. "Can we reach it?" asked. "Not easily. There are at least 5,000 machines between us and the target." "Then we go through them," made the decision. "Take us in full speed, all weapons firing." "Captain, that is suicide," said. "Probably. Do it anyway." They dove into the heart of the swarm. The next 30 minutes were chaos. Fire and metal and death surrounded them on all sides. The ship shook with constant impacts. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. Systems failed one by one. Crew members died at their stations. A missile penetrated the hull and killed everyone in Section 7. An electrical fire burned through Deck 4. The medical bay was overwhelmed with wounded. But the ship kept moving. The ship kept fighting. Fired until his weapons overheated. Then he fired more. His hands were burned from the hot controls. His eyes were red from staring at screens, but he never stopped. "Target in sight," he announced. 500 meters. Through the smoke and fire saw it, the command ship. It was larger than the others, covered in antennas and sensors, the brain of the swarm, the key to everything. "Shields are gone," reported. Her voice was calm even though blood ran down her face from a wound on her head. "They are hitting the hull directly." The screamed as machines tore at its skin. Metal bent, systems failed, the ship was dying. "Fire everything at the target," ordered. "Everything we have left." Pressed every button he could reach. Missiles launched, guns blazed, beams of energy cut through space. The command ship exploded in a ball of white fire. For a moment nothing happened, then all at once the swarm stopped. 12,000 machines froze in place. Their lights went dark, their weapons fell silent. Without the command ship to guide them, they became nothing but floating metal. "We did it," whispered. She could not believe it. "We actually did it." Looked around his ruined bridge. Half his crew was dead or wounded. The ship was falling apart. Fire burned in every corridor, but the swarm was dead. Blue Harbor was safe. "Status report," he said weakly. His own body was full of pain. Something was broken inside him. The reports came in. They were not good. There was destroyed. Too damaged to fly. Too damaged to fight. Life support would fail in less than an hour. Of the 200 crew members who had started the battle, only 51 were still alive. "Captain," said, her voice was shaking, "what do we do now?" Did not have an answer. They had saved 15 million people, but they had sacrificed themselves to do it. There was no rescue coming. No one in the galaxy had ships fast enough to reach them in time. "We wait," said. "We did our job, now we face the consequences." The crew gathered on what remained of the bridge, humans from every part of Earth, scientists and soldiers and engineers. They had come to make contact with the galaxy. Instead, they had saved it. "No regrets," said. He was holding his broken arm against his chest. "We made the right choice." Nodded. "If I had to do it again, I would." Smiled through her tears. "Earth will be proud of us." They waited for the end together. The ship grew cold. The lights dimmed. One by one, systems shut down. Then, through the silence, a voice crackled over the radio. "Human vessel, this is the rescue fleet from Unity Station. We received your distress signal. We are coming. Hold on. We are coming as fast as we can." Laughed. It hurt, but he could not stop. The galaxy had no weapons. The galaxy could not fight, but the galaxy could save lives. And that was exactly what they were going to do. Help was coming, maybe too late for some, but coming. The humans held on and waited for salvation to arrive. The rescue ships arrived 43 minutes later. They came from every corner of the galaxy, ships of all sizes and shapes, passenger vessels and cargo haulers and scientific cruisers. None of them had weapons. None of them had armor, but all of them had something more important: doctors and medicine and hope. The first ship to dock with the dying was a medical vessel from Unity Station. Alien doctors rushed through the broken corridors, searching for survivors. They found 51 humans still alive, 51 out of 200. Woke up in a medical bay 5 days later. His body was wrapped in healing bandages that glowed with soft blue light. Machines beeped around him. The air smelled like flowers. Elder sat beside his bed. The old alien had not slept in days. His eyes were tired but full of something that looked like wonder. "You are awake," said. "We were not sure you would survive." Tried to speak, but his throat was too dry. Gave him water. He drank slowly. "My crew finally managed." "How many?" 51 survived. The rest gave their lives to destroy the Eaters. His voice was thick with emotion. 149 humans died to save 15 million strangers. The galaxy will never forget what you did. Closed his eyes. He knew every person who had died. He had trained them. He had led them. He had watched some of them take their last breaths. "The planet," he asked. "Blue Harbor, are they safe?" Yes, the swarm is destroyed. When you killed the command ship, every machine stopped working. They are floating in space now, dead metal. Your sacrifice saved everyone. Felt something warm in his chest. Not happiness exactly, but satisfaction. They had done what they came to do. They had protected innocent lives. What happens now? Asked. Smiled. Everything changes. The council has been meeting constantly. The whole galaxy is talking about what you did. Are they afraid of us? Afraid of what they could do? Some are, but most are grateful. You showed them something important. You showed them that strength can be used for good, that warriors can be heroes. Stood up and walked to the window. Outside, ships floated past, rescue vessels returning home, cargo ships carrying supplies, the galaxy moving forward. We made mistakes, admitted. We locked you away because we feared your violence. We thought peace meant destroying all weapons and forgetting how to fight. We were wrong. You were not completely wrong, said. Peace is good. A galaxy without war is a beautiful thing. But peace without protection is fragile. We learned that lesson the hard way, turned to face him. The Eaters were asleep for 15,000 years. They could wake again. Other threats could appear. We need to be ready. What are you saying? The Council has decided to create a defense force. Ships with weapons. Soldiers who know how to fight. We will never be completely helpless again. Was surprised. You are building an army. Not an army, a shield, something to protect the peace we have built. Paused. We want humans to lead this new force. Your people understand war better than anyone. You can teach us what we need to know. Thought about this. It was a strange offer. 300 years ago, the galaxy had locked humanity away because they were too violent. Now they were asking humans to protect them because of that same violence. We are not perfect teachers, warned. Our history is full of mistakes, wars we should not have fought, cruelty we should not have shown. We know, but you are also capable of great courage, great sacrifice, great love. Eyes were bright. When your ship faced 12,000 enemies, you did not run. You fought and died for people you had never met. That is not violence, that is heroism. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. The survivors of became the most famous beings in the galaxy. Their faces were shown on every screen. Their names were spoken on every world. Songs were written about their courage. Children played games pretending to be human soldiers. Earth sent more ships. Diplomats and scientists and teachers traveled to the galaxy for the first time in history. They were welcomed with celebrations that lasted for weeks. The barrier that had kept humanity isolated was torn down forever. The bodies of the 149 who died were given the highest honor the Union could offer. Crystal tombs were built for each of them. These tombs floated in space above Blue Harbor, forever watching over the world they had saved. Stood at the memorial ceremony. His wounds had healed, but he walked with a limp now. He would carry scars for the rest of his life. He did not mind. Scars were reminders of what mattered. Stood beside him. Her arm was still in a sling, but her eyes were bright. Look at all these people, she said. They came from across the galaxy to honor our dead. Was there too, his broken arm wrapped in a cast made of glowing alien material. They finally see us for what we are. Not monsters, not threats, just humans. Wiped tears from her eyes. The ones who died would be proud. Looked at the crystal tombs floating among the stars. Each one held a friend, a colleague, a hero. They had given everything so that others could live. The galaxy let down its defenses, he said quietly. They believed the lie that danger was gone forever. We showed them the truth. What truth? Asked. That peace is precious, that it must be protected, that sometimes the only way to keep innocent people safe is to stand between them and danger. Approached them. The big green alien looked different now. There was respect in his eyes that had not been there before. Captain said, the Council has made its final decision. We want you to lead the new defense force. Will you accept?" Looked at his crew, then he looked at the crystal tombs, then he looked at the stars. "I accept," he said, "but on one condition." "Name it." "We build the force around what my crew died for, not conquest, not power, protection. Every soldier who joins will swear to use their strength only to defend the innocent." Bowed his head. "It will be done." The ceremony ended as the stars came out. The galaxy was quiet again. But this time the quiet felt different. This time there were guardians watching over the peace. Earth had finally joined the galactic community, not as the violent savages everyone had feared, not as the peaceful diplomats humanity had hoped to be, but as something in between. Warriors who fought for love, soldiers who killed to protect, dangerous people who used their danger for good. The deadliest warship from Earth had arrived when the galaxy needed it most. 149 humans had given their lives so that billions could live in peace. And in the end, that was the true message of humanity. Not that humans were violent, not that humans were dangerous, but that humans would sacrifice everything for people they had never met. They would fight impossible battles. They would face certain death. They would give their lives for strangers. That was what it meant to be human. And that was humanity's gift to the stars. The galaxy had let down its defenses. Humanity had taught them to build new ones, not walls to separate, not weapons to threaten, but shields to protect. Peace had learned how to defend itself. And humans had earned their place among the stars. Forever,